All right. Hello once again, everyone. This is Bob Turner. This is the Summit Podcast. I'm here with Parker Gammon from Miracle Electric, a guy that I've gotten to know over the last few years in contracting and building and remodeling and small business and all that stuff. So, and through Wendy, actually, as well, too. So, Parker, welcome. Thank you for jumping on the Summit Podcast. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. And thanks for having me on. We'll see what I can portray out to the world, but I'm only a 26-year-old guy, so there's only so much knowledge here.
Don't sell yourself short, right? You've done a lot. I wouldn't have known that. I would have guessed you for older than that. You're certainly more accomplished than your years, so to speak, with what you've done in business and all that. So, hey, I know you. Others don't or might not. So take a few minutes and tell us a little bit about yourself or how you got to where you're at in your electrical contracting business.
Yeah, so I'm just a small town boy from Leamington, Maine, which is, I grew up on a farm until I was about 8. So I lived the farm life and we had, cows and horses. And so that obviously gives you some learning about life,
Work ethic.
And then, my parents ended up parting ways. So, but one thing, for the purpose of this podcast, my dad was always a heating and cooling guy. So I always, from like 5 years old, got to jump in the van and ride with him on night calls. Your generation is just different. Like he would go on midnight calls, and
Yeah.
so
That'll work. Yeah.
to me as a little boy, that's like, let's go, I get to do it. And I went to Bonnie Eagle. And so right around the time, kind of the brand story is I didn't touch a tool until I was about 15 years old. So I wrote it all, with my dad. And when I was in high school, I was playing sports and everything, but I was also still riding with him and helping him on the weekends and stuff. And he finally bought me a tool bag one day, and it was like graduating the special forces. I mean, literally, I thought it was the best day ever. So, but when I was in high school, trades weren't a popular thing.
No.
Like not
It was for the dummies, right? Oh, you got to go to college. You'll end up in the trades.
Yeah. So I was
Right?
just different. And, I would show up to school in a work van sometimes when I got my license. And, I'll put it this way. You felt like a little bit of an island. And most people say, they didn't have the best high school. I had a phenomenal high school career. I mean, football, we were great. It was like college. I mean, we were partying and
Having a good time.
my class was close. Benny, we're closer with the upperclassmen, and I had a blast. And once high school ended, everybody fled for college. And I was kind of, so I had a friend call me and he said, all the tools and stuff, all that you do in a house, just come to Maine Maritime and do it on a ship and you'll make a boatload of money. Sign me up. So I went to Maine Maritime and I was so petrified of failing Maine Maritime because I just didn't, I'm a trade boy. I didn't know if I could do it.
Right.
So needless to say, I spent so much time in the tutor house and everything. I ended up graduating Maine Maritime in 3 years instead of 4, just because I was beyond petrified of failing.
Yeah.
I did that and went shipping. And so when you go shipping, the normal routine is shipping 6 months a year and then 6 months you're home.
Right.
When I was on my off times, I would still do electrical. But throughout all the years, I had enough hours to get my license. And when I'm on a ship making 20 grand a month, I'm not going to go home and make 18 bucks an hour. So that's really why I, was like, I'll just buy my own van and try this, going on my own. And luckily I had enough clientele. I picked up, contractors was a big thing that I was doing at the time, and, a couple houses under your belt and it's go time. So I ended up leaving the industry. It wasn't really the characteristics of the people in the industry I didn't align with.
Yeah.
So
sure.
It was kind of perfect timing anyways. And, after that, I went through bumps and bruises that everybody goes through in business. I think I've gotten punched in the face and, got to join along my father, who was also getting punched in the face, like very heavily at the time. And so I'm very lucky to have gotten that under my belt. And that's really kind of, we're back on track, and I'm back with, the rebrand happening, because now we understand, the old initials ain't going to work. You got to build a household brand.
That's right. It was PG Electric, right?
Yep, PG Electric. And I don't think, when I was talking to the marketing company I work with now, they said, if we get you up to like 5 million, I just don't know if Procter and Gamble is going to love this very much. So,
good point.
so that's kind of my life in a nutshell.
Well,
there.
when we were working together, I know that you had a couple of guys leave. You added, and that was okay, and you were going to add a guy, and then you helped your dad out. Where do things stand now with Miracle? Because I see the rebrand. I see you're more visible and vocal on social. I notice you're running some ads. I see what's going on. What's the genetic makeup of the company now, and what are you doing? What do you hope to do?
Through all my struggles, our struggles over, it was like 2023, 2024. I mean, we were staring down the barrel of bankruptcy with my father's company.
Okay.
I have to say, that guy that came on, I feel bad I don't remember his name, but that was talking about shutting his business down and everything that I commented on
Oh,
Facebook.
sure. Yeah, that was Justin.
Yeah, Justin. And because I've been right next to where he is, and I've seen
Yeah.
it full hand. All the respect in the world to that guy, because he basically, he said, my kids are this age and I'm going to choose, to spend time with them. People will probably look at that and say, what a genuine guy. I look at that and say, no, I know what you're about to go through. When you're staring down the barrel of something like that, here's what it is. It's debt collectors calling you every single day. It's
Yeah.
the sheriff showing up to your office, handing you lawsuit papers.
Mm-hmm.
You're constantly in court dealing with payment plans and all this crap. So he made the decision. I know this is going to be horrific, and I'm
Yeah, it's
choosing
not
my
the easy
children.
way out for sure, right?
Right.
So, I mean, first of all, kudos to you. Like you jumped in, and oftentimes it's a dad helping out a son, but this was kind of the shoe on the other foot. You were able to be in a position where you jumped in, rolled your sleeves up with him, and
Yeah.
went to work.
Yeah. And the reason behind that is Dad and I cannot own a business together at all. So, I mean, when I was in high school working on the same job site with him, it is like your generation is just, it has to be perfect or we're not leaving.
It's-
And, looking back now, that really is what my business is, but
right.
it's, it was a nightmare. Just everything had to be perfect and it drove
Sure.
me nuts. And I used to throw tools at him and we used to get, I'd walk off the job site. But when family's going down, when he commented on your thing, when you put, what's something you have to do every day, and Dad commented, I saw it. He said, I call Parker, and that is no lie. He picks up the phone for years now. He's done this and calls me once a day.
That's
And
cool.
at the time, I could hear his voice kind of just, I'm not doing so hot with business, and I'm like,
Hmm.
screw this, dude. Let me come over
Sure.
and let's check this out. My first week there, Bob, let's put it this way. By Friday, we sat down and had a meeting. There was negative 30,000 in the bank account. We were $1 million in debt, and we had a $20,000 paycheck to cut Monday. That's how bad, it was. And it was like,
Yeah.
and I really think that he should get on to talk and take the glory of and take
Yeah.
it, of where it's going now. But through that time, it was hell, but
You
it
got
was the best thing that ever happened in my
yeah.
life, you know.
You got
And
it turned around.
yeah, so we went to town, but really, this was my long way of answering your question of where's Miracle at, and all this branding stuff is we had to read books. We had to fly out and meet people that have done it. We'd spend our last $400 on a plane ticket to go fly out to a shop that knew what they were doing, and we've met some really cool people that have sold their HVAC businesses for $500 million. A guy down in Texas, that's doing 60 million. We were just getting these rooms that like we just didn't belong in probably, and we put all the pieces together. It's like, boom, got to run that way. And when he started headed down like a really good path, I get a call that PG Electric's falling apart. So
Right. Yeah. Your own house was on fire, right?
I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, well, I got to go save this one. So, and I definitely got to give kudos to Caitlin, who's my fiance, because I have a 13-month-old at home right now. At the
Right.
time,
Yeah.
Caitlin was 6 months pregnant and we're barely making mortgage. And
Yeah.
I'm flying out all the time. I'm working night and days. I'm reading books. So I got to give everything to her because without that, I can't, the business is just not
Mm.
going to happen.
Yeah.
Everything to her for that. But so I jump over to PG Electric because I'm like, I just went through this with a $4 million company. Like, how
Gotta
hard is this
fix
going to be?
this. Yeah.
So do the same things, and we pivoted fast. And
Hmm.
I was like, I don't have time to give you guys every little detail, but you just got to follow my lead. and we're going to war and it's go time. That like excited me to do that. Uh, Everybody quit besides one guy, and we had to rebuild, totally fine.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And we had to build a business. That's what we had to build.
Right.
Truth, really.
Yeah. At 26, you've been through a lot. From a business standpoint, you've got an impressive resume of saving businesses, right?
Yeah. I guess so. And it's just blind luck, I guess. It's just.
Yeah, well, maybe good instincts, right? So let's talk Miracle and think of what a fitting name, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk Miracle. Where do you want to be in 5 years with this thing?
Yeah, we're trying to take it to 5 million in Portland, and just doing electrical service work with homeowners. We're trying to take it to 5 million, and then either make an exit, or Caitlin and I are going to go down to her family, near her family in Mass, and maybe kick another location off, but I see the market capacity for us is 5 to 6 million. So we're at least going to shoot for 5. We're breaking the 1 million mark right now, and trying to stay profitable as we can and keep our heads, straight.
Yeah. What are the things that you're able to get away with, say, at 0 to 1 million, that you don't see yourself being able to get away with above that?
Me doing a lot of things in the business.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. I even, we got 3 vehicles on the road right now, and I'm doing too much, more than I should be, for sure.
Yeah. You got to be in that CEO role, right?
100%.
That's great. It's kind of cliche, and a lot, you'll hear that a lot in the business development space. But first of all, you got to keep the vans moving. You got to get the service work done. Somebody has to make the donuts, so to speak, right?
Right. 100%.
Do you feel like you're at that kind of that tipping point where you'll stop pulling back, or is that sometime this year or next year?
So I kind of have been for the last couple months. Like, I've been home really when I want to. I kind of, the first couple of years, I say I did too much of this, but I focused on so much of the customer service, of customer fulfillment. So, you really have like lead generation, and then lead conversion, and then customer fulfillment. That's kind of how I basically look at a business. And that customer fulfillment means everything to me, because it's just your name, and it's really the characteristics of your company. And I probably spent too much time, after the downfall, just making sure our manuals, their guys were following everything to a T. They're sending these guys have to take a picture of their boots with boot covers on in order to get bonuses, at the end of the month. So everything, just making sure every single thing in customer fulfillment is going great, because that really gets the word of mouth going, and just keeps it strong. And now we're working on more of the sales. Okay, let's push more sales. And then once I get that delegated, I'm running for 5 million. And
are you doing all the sales right now yourself?
I'm actually training a guy right now to take over. So, yeah.
Where do you get most of your work? Is it GCs, or is it homeowners? A split?
No, so you're probably going to hate this, but when we failed, I cut out. You were the last contracting company we did work with.
I ruined you.
No, but we just noted, we wanted to control our own destiny, really. And we wanted to, I had to triple my pricing at the time. I couldn't be compared to another. So
you can't be dealing with that GC that says, "Look, man, I'm going to give you all my work, but I need a break."
Square foot and all that. And so I literally buzzed all the people that we had lined up work with in my worst moments, and said, we're not doing the house. I'm running this way. And people in the industry, you want to talk about noise and distractions, they don't like it. Everybody tells me service work, there's no work in electrical service work. You got to get into the commercial and new construction and all this. I'm like, okay, do your thing.
Setting yourself up. You're setting yourself up to be very specific. That's what I see.
Yeah, we're trying to really, take it one thing at a time. So it's like, maximize this before we move on to the next thing. Keep the noise away. Keep doing the thing. It's going to get boring, is what it is.
It's a lot quicker turns, right? A smaller ticket, quicker turns.
Yeah, and right now, I had to build the business so that we could live on $1,000 transactions.
Right.
So that was step one, was get your pricing so you can, live on $1,000 transactions. And now we're doing something different. we're seeing if, and it's there. Last month, we had an opportunity to do 150 grand. So we're at the point now where we're going in and basically our mission is to take the older homes in the Portland area and bring them up to today's safety standards. That's the goal of our company, whether we do it in phases, whether we cut it monthly payments, do it all at once. So that turns it into a $20,000, $30,000 ticket. But these homes are so out of whack. It's kind of like, it's booger on booger on booger.
Yeah, and it's remodeling to a GC versus building a new home, right? Like I've always said, if you can remodel, you can do anything. So if you can bring one of those old homes, and when we talk old, we're talking late 17s, early mid 1800s homes, right?
I'll say it's not hard of a sale because when you got knob and tube sitting in front of you, it's like, do I really have to sell much on this? Like you got your two kids over there.
Yeah. So what do you have you got a lot going on and three vehicles out on the road. Are you using software for your scheduling? What do you use?
Yeah, we use a CRM called House Call Pro.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so we can dispatch and it's
Nice.
it's freaking phenomenal.
Johnny's on his way to your site right now, ma'am. Here's what he looks like. All the stuff, right? That's good. That's good. My hat is a job tread hat, so that's the House Call Pro awesome. of contracting and remodeling but I think where you're at for what you're doing is probably a great place for you. Did you have much of a hard time getting the guys to adopt using it, to commit to using it?
No, because they were kind of wanting something more convenient anyways. We were using it's crazy that it was only like a year or two ago, but thinking back, it was like we're on Google Drive and Google Calendar, which was fine, but just for collecting payments and, like Gabby in the office gets a call from a customer. She's got all the customer's info in one spot and can answer any question.
Well, and as you build this, right, and you think of, your SOPs and all that stuff, you like, how can I make something that's rinse and repeat? Add a van, outfit a van, put the right person in it. Boom. Here's the manual. Here's how we do it here. Rock and roll. Right.
Yeah. And I've had people that hate that. Obviously there's people out there that just,
but they're the people that left when you changed, right? They don't want structure.
I'll tell you what, people that like it, like the accountability, like the structure, like believe it. I said this in our meeting yesterday. There's not a lot of people my age that actually really believe in the company they work for. They don't, they're just there for a 9-to-5 job.
Sure.
And, I got guys taking calls right now at 5, 4, after they worked all day. And it's because they believe in the brand and we got to uphold the standard here. I don't have to ask them to go do it. It's just, but I think that's something people really should pay attention to is like, there's not a lot of people that really believe in the company they work. They'll go work for an electrical company and do side work on the weekends. It's like, that company's great, huh?
Yeah. So it sounds like you're not just building the electrical company, you're building the culture.
100%.
That's important to you. Yeah.
They all know, they see the numbers all the time. We track KPIs like crazy. Everything's exposed. They see the reporting, P&Ls, whether we're winning or not. So what happens is that, we've won the last 5 months. Great. It just drives a culture of like, we know what, our
what a win is.
Yeah. So
yeah, they know why they're all pulling on the rope, right?
Yeah, 100%.
What would you say the biggest constraint is in your company right now?
Sales for sure.
Okay.
We were such so I bred a couple techs and, they're in their own vans now. And I used to do 50, 60 grand out of my van a month, just doing service work. And so how I thought of it was, I'll add a second van, I'll replace myself with 2 vans, will be 100 grand a month. Not the case, man. Technicians don't want to sell, and I've pushed their buttons on it. I had something to sell for. I own the business,
Right.
These guys, 30, 40 grand, I'm happy at this point. I'll bring a salesman in to come take care of the bigger stuff.
When you talk about what they don't want to sell, you're like, hey, geez, we're redevising your outlets and stuff under the kitchen cabinets. Have you ever thought about some under cabinet lighting? I mean, we're right here.
Yeah, and we've even our process is like crazy. So if we show up and the wiring looks a little off, or you have older outlets, we say, hey, do you want to just do a whole safety inspection checklist? It takes us like 30 minutes. You don't got to buy anything. You just know where your home stands as far as,
Yeah,
today's.
they have to have that mentality of always be selling, right? And that's the path to them making more money.
Yeah,
You
but
know?
it's not for a lot,
Yeah.
and it's just a different world. It was a lot. I figured out it's a lot to ask them to show up on time, have their vans neat and clean,
Mm.
have the electrical knowledge, gain the customer's trust because they're the first one they're meeting from the company. Go over that, go over options and like diagnose what the options should be, write the estimate, and now you're
Right.
expecting to overcome objections and deal with all. I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I'm
True.
asking for a lot. These guys should be paid $80 an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Well, that's good. I think you're wise beyond your years, and you've got some great wisdom and experience in business already at a young age. What do you wish you knew before you started? If you could go back, what would you tell, young
It's so
Parker?
boring, but it's probably what everybody would say is I wish I knew what a business was.
Mm.
Everybody, especially in the trades, you could probably back me up on this, Bob, but everybody in the trades acts like it's something different than the normal business world.
Yeah.
I don't understand it, So, like, just what I was saying either, every business needs lead generation. They need lead conversion and they need customer fulfillment. They need to be priced right so they're profitable. Why is the trades any different? So I wish I knew that, and that, everything needs to operate on a system, and that's what I wish I knew. But here's another thing I will say to a lot of people, because I've seen it firsthand. Things can get a lot worse than you think, and you can still bring it back. So
Right.
I would encourage people to, we used to have to hide the vans in the shop so they wouldn't get repoed, so the guys could have something to go to. I'm telling you,
Yeah, that's when you know
it was
your
so
back's
broke
against
that
the wall.
the
Yeah.
guys would pull in, their brakes were out, so they're using the emergency brake.
Wow.
Benny was driving a van once, the ladder rack flew off it on 95. It can get a lot worse than you think it can. So
Yeah.
live on your edge a little bit. Go out there
Yeah.
and, get the failure. Go talk to somebody that's done it. When we were down in Texas, we went to visit this guy, 9:30 at night. He's running a $60 million company. He brings us in 9:30 at night. And I'm going, I was down on my luck at the time, just, like, man, we're just like, we can't even buy material. Every vendor hates us. Everybody's suing us. And he looked at me and he said, pick your head up. That means you have guts. He used other words, but like, be proud of yourself for fighting through this and actually having the guts to go, take it to that point
Yeah.
and being that aggressive. So
Yeah.
I would tell my younger self too, a little more like, stop worrying so much. Go get it, go fail forward, get it out of the way, and just
Just go.
attack.
Just go. Don't worry about what other people think, because I'm sure you guys heard the people chirping and heard the noise, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
My own
Oh, jeez.
friends for years just chirping about my father, and it's like, dude, have you ever run a $4 million business? Go try it. Go take the keys to that business and tell me how you're gonna do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now I look at things in a completely different perspective for sure. But I don't shit
Yeah.
talk. I don't
No.
talk.
How's life for Dad now? Things good?
Put
Is
it
he?
this way, he's going to Florida tomorrow to golf for a week.
I like it.
Our 6 to 8 months together, we paid off $700,000 in debt. I mean, we learned what business was fast.
Wow, man, that's unbelievable. I guess I would imagine he'll see this, and yeah, I'm sure he's going to be proud to just kind of walking back through that and hearing how you speak about it and speak of him.
Yeah, it was, the whole brand story of Miracle was I spent the first 10 years riding with my father in the van before I
Mm.
even touched a tool. And after I touched a tool, I think I'm the God's greatest gift because I can,
Right.
and
Yeah.
then I realized with PG Electric, like, customers expect you to know what you're doing with the tools. What they really cared about was the first 10 years that I was riding with Dad, showing up on time, shaking somebody's hand, having a
Yeah.
conversation. And every time, I would leave a customer's house, if there was a problem, I would go straight, boots on the ground right away. Let's
Fix
tackle this face to face. And they would act like it was a miracle. And I used to say to Joey all the time, riding in that piece of crap Chevy van at the time, like, what are we, Miracle Electric? Because we showed up on time,
There you go.
So that's why we just rebranded it Miracle Electric.
I like it. I knew there was probably a story there. Well, hey, I like to ask people a couple questions here as we move toward the end. And you've seen my stuff, and I talk about finding your edge and all that. And I always define that as Like your edge is like where you go when the shit hits the fan, right? Or how you show up differently than others, or what you bring to the table that others don't. So what would you say your edge is, Park?
Well, I'm kind of thinking of that as like an outlet when things go bad. Is that kind of what you're getting at? But
Yeah, like
I
yeah,
would, I would say I always said to myself, you're kind of a bitch. You never want anything to go wrong. But when things go wrong, Bob, there's something inside of me that's like, I love this. I loved working 24 hours around the clock trying to fix that business.
mm-hmm.
I dove into books. I met people. I love the fight of putting your back. I'd say that's actually a weakness of mine because I'm the guy that has to take it to the fifth round and getting the
Right,
crap beat out of me
right,
to actually stand
sure,
up and put up a good fight.
right.
So my edge is kind of like being in that moment and figuring it out the hard way and finding it. And again, it sounds all manly and all that, but it's actually a weakness I have a lot of times because I wait too long, and I wait until stuff hits me in the face to really pick it up.
Yeah, I mean, you play better in the later rounds, to stay with the same analogy, right? So you're a guy that you don't want you don't want to let you hang around in a long race because you're going to be there, gnawing on someone's ankles late in the game, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's good. I'd take 10 of you guys on my team anytime. And I would say that you probably you shine in adversity. You don't run from it. You kind of you're a guy that runs toward the fire.
Yeah, my rule of thumb in our company is when there's a problem, we handle this face to face and we attack it like SEAL Team 6. Just
Yeah,
overwhelm
yeah,
the customer with how good. I say it all the time, like I'm a sicko. I kind of like when there's problems because now I get to show the true me. I get to show all the core value. Like it's
yeah. You
time to
find out who
actually,
the leader is, right?
and that's probably a sicko thing to say, but it's just true. Like customers, we had a call back yesterday and I couldn't be more excited to run it because it's just like,
Right.
I'll show you what our real, our
Yeah.
company.
Well, yeah. Show you what our core values are and what our culture is. Have you read Extreme Ownership?
No, but is that a Jocko?
Yeah, when you
Yeah.
when you mentioned SEAL Team 6 and all that, you need to read that. You'd like that. It connected a few dots for me a few years ago, and I think you'd like that. So grab Extreme Ownership. He has another one too called The Dichotomy of Leadership. So those are a couple of great ones that you probably would like.
I was telling myself today, I said, because I got a whole bookcase of all
Oh
the
yeah,
books I read when stuff, and I'd reach out to the author. Oh, I'd find them, like I fly out and meet you. Like I've got to figure out this business. Looked at them yesterday and I said, I don't want to read another book for another year. I'm so tired of reading
yeah.
books.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Well, man, I feel like we could do this for a few hours. I appreciate you coming on, being excited about it. I'm glad we're able to connect and get it done. I'd love to do it sometime again with you. I think you've got a nose for business, and regardless of what you think of our generation,
Yeah.
I think we're all right. And I think probably dear old dad taught you a few things there early.
It's one of those things, Bob, where you don't realize how good it is until after you've been
Sure.
coached through it. It's like that
Yeah.
hard knocks, and doing things perfect or you're not leaving. And it's like, it's
Yeah.
so annoying on the way through. But after,
Right.
it's like you shine, you stand out differently than everybody.
Yeah.
And it's
Nope.
so,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I like to, at the end, I like to just kind of step away from the mic and let the guest go for a minute. And I always just put the ball in the tee and say this. And whether it's business or personal, what do you want people to know? What do you wish people knew, Parker?
about me or just in life.
On anything. Anything business, could be life, could be being a dad.
I would say I would follow that whole statement of what I would say to my younger self. Things can get a lot worse than they usually are, and you can still make it out of it. I've seen it firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
Family to me, like this household, I would never have gotten the opportunity to make it out without Caitlin just every night having a smile on her face, a warm supper ready, and listening to me talk about, but her ears must bleed about all the nights I was sitting there just drumming up ideas. So who you're partnered with is everything to me, like who you surround yourself with. I'm kind of getting to that age of just, I'm kind of picky about who I surround, if
Yeah.
you know what I'm trying to say. I
Mm-hmm.
don't need
100%.
distractions. this is already, hard enough. I need people that actually are genuine. Things can get a lot worse. And if you just surround yourself with the right people and go after it, you're going to be just fine. 100%. I'm not, and listen, I'm not some millionaire right now. I live in
Oh,
an average 3-bed, 2-bath house. I'm not trying to sound like somebody that's made it. It's just, I've been in the trunks and it's like, you know, you can make it out and just have no fear.
yeah. I would say, world, watch out, because now you're armed with what not to do, right?
Yeah, 100%.
As you go.
And it's
A lot
just
of people.
like people come in and I hire them and they say certain things and I say, I got experience to tell you otherwise. And, I get
Mhm.
what you're saying, but it cannot happen that way.
Yeah.
So,
Good for you, man.
100%.
Yeah. I think that sky's the limit for you guys. And I think that, getting your dad's stuff back on track is a major feather in your cap, and you take all those lessons with you, and nobody can ever take that knowledge from you, no matter what happens. Let's hope you don't have to put it to work again.
Right.
I
Yeah,
see you putting
100%.
it to work somewhere down the road in the consulting space, frankly,
I might
because I
try
think
to I might try to roll up some broken businesses in the future just so I can turn them
I
around,
think you,
but
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
see.
Or, many people have made a great living buying them and putting them back on track and then selling them, or going in and straightening them out. So you got a nose for business, and I like that. I'll be watching. Okay. I see your stuff. Keep posting. Okay. Stay out there. Stay visible, because, hey, it don't cost nothing, right? On
Yeah,
the, on the,
100%.
on the social
That's
guys that
another
work with me.
big tip that I've learned through the media company. There's a lot of marketing agencies out there. People really need to start watching who they gear up with marketing. You
Who
want to
are they?
build a
Give them a
true
shout out.
Wizard of Ads in Texas. You should really look them up. I
Yep.
gave Wendy
Wizard
the
of Ad.
book that, my guy that does our marketing.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
They are 100% relationship style marketing. Don't give me this 50% off call now. No, what's your company? So everything I post is all I'm trying to get people to hear my voice, our core values, what we stand for, and know that before they call the phone.
Yeah,
So,
it's coming through. You're telling your story and everything.
yeah, so new are just business owners that are like kind of get into the marketing world. Just be careful. There's a lot of companies out there that say, I can blow, social media ads, I'll take 10%. Great. But are you building a household brand, or are you just building a transactional business?
Right.
That's pretty important to pay
Send
attention
us
to.
3,500 a month, and we'll take care of your SEO, and then you got to give us your ad spend. And next thing you know, they're spending 5-6K, and they don't know whether they got any leads,
Or this, Bob,
and
like
if they
what
didn't,
happens
why.
what happens when they take the marketing off? Have you made any progress on your name where people are doing word of mouth? Or are you living strictly on that marketing,
Exactly.
platform? I
Yeah,
could go on and on about this for hours, but
I like it. We'll talk again.
yeah, so I really appreciate you having me on, and hopefully I could, put a pearl of wisdom or anything in the
Yeah.
industry.
How do people get a hold of you?
You can go right on our social media and message in. You can find me on Facebook, Parker Gammon, and message in. I love networking. It's my favorite. Everybody has a specialty to them, and I love listening to it. I love, selfishly, taking wisdom, and everybody has a special thing they're good at. So
That's how I met your dad, networking.
yeah,
BNI. Yep. Yep. And remember, he's so busy he couldn't. He's like, I'm like, where's Bruce? He's working.
now you just know that he's down in Florida, right? 2 days from
Right.
now.
Well, good for him.
So
Tell him I said hello. Maybe we'll
I
get
will.
him on, do an episode
I
sometime if
really
he's.
would, because that
Yeah.
story, is crazy, and him and my stepmom really deserve the glory of taking that story home and talking about how they made it out of it. They'll be doing 5 million next year, so without a doubt. A happy 5 million, happy customers, happy bottom line. That's important.
Yeah. Good net profit. Yeah, for sure. So keep grinding, buddy. I appreciate you. Guys, this has been the Summit Podcast. This episode is with Parker Gammon from Miracle Electric. Find him on social. Find him on Facebook, wherever. He's doing it right. He's building a good culture. He's got great core values. This kid's going places. I say kid because I'm twice your age and you're younger than my daughter, so I could say that. But thanks, buddy. I appreciate you. Guys, thanks a lot. We'll be back with another episode real soon. Take care. Parker, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, sir.